Hello, everyone. So I'm D. Marcella Lyles, and I am going to talk a little bit today about the difference between doing polyamory and being polyamorous from my personal view. Now, this is not gospel. I don't want anybody to be like, oh, you speak for all polyamorous people. No, I've just, been polyamorous my whole life. I've always been able to embrace polyamory in my existence. And so, from what I've seen and from my experience, there are at least two types of people who engage in polyamory. And one of those ways is by being polyamorous. So these people are people who identify as polyamorous regardless of what relationship they're in, regardless of what's going on in their life. They are polyamorous. So that's a little different than people who, all of a sudden find out about polyamory and now go about doing polyamory. And that can cause kind of a disconnect when those two people try to have conversations or date. There needs to be some real clear conversation about where you're coming from, because if polyamory is an inside out kind of expression, like somebody who's being polyamorous, or if it's an outside in, like somebody who's doing polyamory, are those both valid approaches? Sure, but they yield very different results and very different positions. So for example, somebody referred someone to me because I am polyamorous. And this person who was referred to me is looking for groups and looking for, they can't really tell me what they were looking for that I specifically, as a coach and a sexuality educator, could help with. Because finding groups on Facebook or anything like that or Google is something anyone can do. So we kind of, I wasn't sure what they needed or wanted, but I said, all you got to do is Google and look. And then recently I followed up with them, and they were like, well, I'm looking for, one guy and 3 women, and that's great. But what you're looking for is a job, not a relationship. What you're looking for is something to do, people to plug into an algorithm that you've already calculated. And that's very good. That's doing polyamory, and it's very intentional. I have personally watched people in groups like that, and it's not very satisfying. It's kind of like finding someone to marry, and and I want them to do this. It's harder. That's just my experience. Nothing wrong, just it seems harder. Like for myself, being polyamorous, I just join groups of people that I like. I look for commonality. And I'm polyamorous, whether they are or they aren't or whatever. It doesn't really matter, because the people that I'm looking for, I'm not looking to fit a dynamic. I'm looking for dynamic people. I'm looking for people who organically and naturally show up in my life and are an expression of my joy and my happiness. Not somebody who's going to plug into one of 4 slots for the relationship I'm trying to create. So it's a little bit different. Again, nothing wrong, just different. So I wanted to know what you think about that, what's been your experience, and how do we help people who are doing one or the other navigate relationships with the opposite, or is that even possible? Thanks, and looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Have a good day.